I can be serious for a minute.
Welcome to Raw is Jericho!
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Listen up, you blind slapnut.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody.
The real reason I came here tonight is because we are live!
We flex on NXT.
A little bit of the bubbly.
The preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Well, you're welcome, Jurassic slap ass.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all the ages, man, Jurassic slap ass, man, we must be going up in the world because I ain't no slap nuts. But it is that time of the week again. It is the Week in Review show here for your world of wrestling. And man, what a week it has been. Week 2 of the Great American Bash. Week 2 of Fyter Fest in AEW. It just a lot of stuff happening this week. More matches added for Extreme Rules. More stuff going on Raw. More and more things have, coming up. And even Slammiversary's, starting to get talk-worthy a little bit more. Coming up in the next week. But yes, it is the Week in Review show here. But before we go any further, you know how we do this every week. We kick this off. And it is We Are Live. Yes. Week in Review show here for the week of July 9th, 2020. Man, I hope everyone out there had a great American Bash, had a good 4th of July over the past week. And man, was it just fun for you as it was for me? 4th of July, blowing stuff up, lighting off fireworks, celebrating our Independence Day. Of course, last week also our brothers to the north, our Canadian friends, and they're celebrating Canada Day. Hope everyone had a safe break over that, and I hope you guys are still safe out there with this damn virus. But before we go into what's been going on TV, we have some news for you guys. So we're going to get right into it with the news report. Let's start off with the big one that came out recently, that WWE has bought Evolve Wrestling. Yes. If you remember, WWE Network a while ago showed an Evolve event on their network, and it was a very good product. Evolve was a feeder system for WWE developmental since 2015. With this acquisition, it means that WWE now has access to the rights to Evolve's brand name. It can also run Evolve wrestling events and now owns the promotion's entire video library. Evolve was a part of the World Wrestling Network. It's online, but they are their contracts, existing Evolve / World Wrestling Network contracts, are not a part of a sale. So again, WWE just acquired the Evolve Wrestling brand. That's all it was. And that was pretty well known. I mean, Adam Cole was there, Keith Lee was there. Just some good names that came out of that area for Evolved as a developmental since 2015. So that was one big acquisition this past week. And of course, the big news for next month has officially, or not officially, but has been set somewhat in stone. SummerSlam 2020 will not be in Boston, Massachusetts. Yes. SummerSlam is going to be produced at the Performance Center this year. Sad note for everyone that was going to go to SummerSlam in Boston, that was probably going to go there, go enjoy SummerSlam weekend with SmackDown, NXT TakeOver, SummerSlam, and Raw. It would have been a great weekend. Probably try to get some great live action for everyone there. But unfortunately, SummerSlam is getting moved to the Performance Centers, and Boston is out. Hopefully, they'll be getting another chance for SummerSlam, probably when we get out of this damn virus era that moment that we're living in. Some good news, some very exciting news for I'm not gonna. I really want to say she's former, but yeah, she is a former women's wrestler on WWE, but she was a member of the Riot Squad, but she was released. Sarah Logan has announced that on her YouTube page, The Wild and Free TV, that she is pregnant. So congratulations to Riot Squad member. I'm still going to call her a Riot Squad member. And she got married recently, more recently before this whole damn virus came effect. So she was a newlywed, and now she's pregnant with her first child with Eric of the Viking Raiders. So congratulations, guys, on that happy news. She joins Becky Lynch in the pregnancy world now, and of course the Bella twins right now being so close to being having child again with them, with Nikki getting her first child and Brie with her second. So it's been a very interesting time with the women right now, at least on the outside of the wrestling world, from the ring. Of course, we're going to talk about this in a little bit, with Raw. But of course, Raw debuted the new WWE United States Championship. Holy monkeys. That is a title. I literally, that is the brand new WWE Championship being debuted. And surprisingly, now I know when it first debuted, I was kind of like, what? You see that title and you're like, what the heck were they thinking? But you kind of get used, after a little bit. I mean, I'll bring it up for you guys on the Wikipedia. I'll bring it up for you guys. It's like, yeah. Stream. Yeah. So I'll bring that up for you guys to see what this brand new title. I mean, granted, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it right now in the last little while. I'll bring, but yes, the brand new United States Championship title. And don't get me wrong, I didn't really like it at first. It kind of just was kind of bland, but it's just that how they brought it out. I mean, MVP and Lashley, who none of them are the champs, bring it out and debuted it. But it's kind of grown on me because looking at it and then comparing it to the old US the inaugural US title for WWE. I mean, it's okay, and in essence, it's okay, but I'm still partial to the OG US title for WWE. That was the one that I loved, and it was awesome. It was a classic title, something clean. Literally. And of course, champions have held on to it. Eddie Guerrero, the first one to hold on to that title. Of course, MVP. Chris Benoit. Said that name again. But just a lot. JBL held on to it. Miz held on to it. Booker T held on to it. John Cena even with the spinner belt on it. But still, that title was the best title, one of the best ones. Oh, period. But with this title debut, this is the most interesting fact of it. With this title, the U.S. title marked the end of all the Ruthless Aggression belts. Bye-bye. The Ruthless Aggression era is now gone officially, with the U.S. title getting pushed aside for this brand new one right here. And that's really sad for sure that the OG U.S. title made in the Ruthless Aggression era is now gone. I would have figured that they could have probably made it look like the WCW U.S. title. I'll bring, compare, just for comparison. Back that part out. WCW US title. I'll bring that. Oh shoot! It's only going to bring me up to the. It's only going to bring me up to the other, back to that title again. So yeah, I can't really. I'll probably find it another day. But yeah, that title was so clean. Actually, you know what? Hold on. As soon as they'll allow me. Oh, here we go. Boom. U.S. title. Look how clean that title is. It looks so good. That was one of the better titles right there for the U.S. title. But of course, new title for the new age. And apparently, more rumors out there that WWE has some more new titles that they're going to be that have yet to debut yet. Report is that it's the SmackDown tag titles and the NXT title. It's just going to be a little bit bigger. But I mean, of course, we're going to talk about NXT Great American Bash Night 2. So we'll cover that. But new tag team titles for SmackDown, that would be very interesting. And a bigger version of the NXT title. So, to say the least, that would be pretty good right there. Just depends on how they look in the design. And the last bit of news is that Rey Mysterio is right now currently a free agent. He has not signed a new deal. He was working on a 2-year deal back when he originally came back in 2018 for the Rumble, but he is now currently without a deal as a member of the WWE roster. So I don't know what the WWE is going to be doing, if they're going to try to lock him down for a little bit longer. Well, granted, how crazy the situation is with him on Raw right now with Seth, but damn. So, but that is going to be the news for today. That is the stuff that has been going on. Not a whole lot of action this week. Mostly everything in the ring. But let's get into some action. Let's get into what has been going on in the world of wrestling. Let's hit over to SmackDown. If I was going to hit you with that Raw, I was going to say Raw, but let's head on over to SmackDown, because that is where we're going to talk about what happened this past week. Switch it, because right now we're not talking about this Great American Bash right now, but SmackDown this past week. Of course, the last few, several SmackDowns have just been low on the cards for just showing off matches. 4 matches in total this past week. Again, I do not remember a time where there was less than 3 or more than 4 at this point right now. With what's going on with SmackDown, I don't know what is up, but they've been pushing out like 4 matches. I mean, sure, some of them may be, long and lengthy matches, but 4 matches in total this past week again. And of course, see Corey getting in here with that OG title for sure. It's like, yeah, that was a damn good title. The U.S. title was what made SmackDown SmackDown. Literally, the place to be for in 2003 and 04, right there. Sorry about that, but again, SmackDown this past week. Spoiler alerts for anyone did not watch, past week's Raw and SmackDown and NXT and everything. We're going to be spoiling it, but SmackDown, Matt Riddle taking on John Morrison was in his first actual promo match that we actually knew he was going to be in to a point. Matt Riddle had a damn good match with John Morrison, and he picks up the victory over Mr. Morrison. AJ Styles defending the Intercontinental Championship a week later than what he was supposed to do last week on the show, 2 weeks ago. But because of what was going on, they decided let's just do a Undertaker tribute show. And we finally got the match this week. AJ Styles taking on Drew Gulak. And it was a good match. A damn good match. AJ Styles picks up the victory over Mr. Gulak. Bayley and Alexa Bliss going at it. Unfortunately for Alexa Bliss, she does not get the victory. Loses by DQ. So Bayley will pick up the victory. It was an okay match. I'll give it that. It was an okay match. And, oh yeah, hopefully, Real will probably get some momentum after his victory with Morrison. I will give him that. I just don't like the fact that he's, trying to, maybe get into a program with King Corbin. Literally, Corbin's just been sleeping, been boring, putting me to sleep. He just needs to drop that King title because it's no longer working for him. It's just annoying. And then main event time, Shinsuke taking on Kofi Kingston, and Shinsuke picking up the victory over the Kof. And again, Shinsuke and Cesaro building momentum towards trying to get a tag team title shot. I'll get to that in a second there, AJ. Yeah, they're building momentum to try to get into the title picture, the tag team title picture, and it seems to be working because Shinsuke is picking up victory over Kofi in the tag team title holder. But yeah, King Who, literally just King Who there, and AJ on Facebook just dropping that King Who for King Corbin. He's been boring, man. I've lost my interest with him because he's just been literally boring every time he comes on. Since at least WrestleMania, from WrestleMania, he's just been boring. And of course, we do know this coming week, tomorrow will be Bayley Banks taking on Alexa and Nikki in a tag team action, non-titles. The non-title match, the tag titles will not be on the line. And then Jeff Hardy will be on Miz TV. So that is this coming week, and that was this past week's SmackDown for you guys. Again, SmackDown just been feeling like it's so condensed. While granted, it's a 2-hour show, but it just seems like the focus is on certain things. Now, granted, we are getting more, build up for the swap match with Bray and Braun, but yeah, still could do a little bit more, just a little bit more, just a little bit. And I have been loving what Banks and Bayley have been doing, recently, just been dominating. But of course, I'm still hopeful that SummerSlam is going to be a Banks versus Bayley situation. I'm still hoping for that. Probably have to wait till Extreme Rules for that, which is going to be. Just gotta keep watching. Just keep watching. So how about we head on over to the Red brand before to pick up the action there, because Red has been pulling out a lot of the stops a little bit with what has been going on. Switch, let's get out of the blue brand right here. And shebang over to the Raw brand. And to kick off Raw this past week, we had a surprise bring back of he's just one man. He's a one-man band. Mr. Heath Slater came back with a little help from Dolph Ziggler being suckered into it. Heath took on his former 3MB brethren, Drew McIntyre, in a damn good way to kick off. It was a good way to kick off the show, but it was a short match with Drew picking up the victory over Heath. Heath getting into Dolph's face a little bit. Or actually, Dolph getting into Heath's face a little bit. Heath didn't like it. Dolph didn't just beat him up. Drew came back for the save and buddies again. It was a good match. Good, feel good moment right there for these guys, especially Heath, who's no longer under contract and currently under his 90 days, no compete clause anywhere. So there's been rumors he was going to go to Impact, but we don't know yet, or we'll have to wait for Slammiversary for that. Kairi Sane makes a return after getting her head cracked by Nia Jax several weeks ago. Takes on Sasha Banks. Kairi gets the victory via disqualification. Good to see the Kabuki Warriors, somewhat back to get, actually not even somewhat, just back together on the Raw brand for the build-up for Extreme Rules Horror Show. Gotta love that sound. You got good drink. Tag team match due to KO having his show. Kevin Owens is back for the first time since he has withdrawn himself after WrestleMania for tapings. KO had the KO show with Seth on the show. Ray came out. We had impromptu tag team match with Ray and KO taking on Seth and Murphy. And with a stipulation of whichever team wins gets to name a match between Ray and Seth at the pay-per-view. It was a good matchup. Rey Mysterio, KO picking up the victory over Seth and Murphy. Ray gets to choose the stip for Extreme Rules. And to make things interesting about how this horror show is going to be, they actually chose something that was going to fit the horror show at Extreme Rules. Because Ray makes the stipulation an eye for an eye match. Literally. This brings horror show to another level. Because I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those another cinema style matchup that's going to take place at Extreme Rules. And it is just going to be crazy. Literally just cuckoo to have a match where the only way to win, at least in theory, is to pull your opponent's eye out. Okay, WWE, how in the heck are you guys going to get around this? Literally, how are you guys going to get around this eye for an eye match? And this is just mind-blowing of how, I can understand, if it was First Blood, a first blood match. We actually had throwback right there, and not a nosebleed, no blood, not a mouth bleed. First blood, first sign of the Red Cross. That's that would be a horror show right there. But or heck, shoot, I'm trying to think of something else for something that would be hard. A casket match or a last ride match. That is something that would be fruitful for this rivalry right here. But an eye for an eye? I just don't see this. Literally, I just cannot, literally, I cannot see this because it's just so crazy to know that you have to pull your opponent's eye out to win the match. Heck, even an Inferno match, that would have been, intriguing right there. Granted, we probably would have seen Seth burn, being the Monday Night Messiah and being the false prophet, but that wouldn't have worked. But to pull your opponent's eye out, let's see how WWE is going to handle that at Extreme Rules. I mean, granted, it'll probably be it will be a cinema style, more than so we'll probably have two there. We'll talk about that when we run down what we currently have for the horror show coming up in 2 weeks time in 10 days. MVP and of course Lashley debuting the new US title that currently Apollo Crews is in possession of, supposed to be. He's the reigning champion, taking on Cedric and Ricochet in a tag team match, and that was a good match. I'll give it that. MVP and Lashley picking up the victory over Cedric Alexander and Ricochet. 6-man tag. Randy Orton, Andrade, and Angel Garza taking on the Big Show and the Viking Raiders in a pretty damn good match. Orton getting in Angel Garza's face and literally almost choking him out, telling him to get his head in the game, or somewhat early in the match. Orton hits RKO on the Eric of the Raiders, and they pick up the victory over the Big Show and the Raiders. Women's singles match, Ruby Riott taking on Billie Kay. Another one-on-one match for Ruby, taking on the Iconics. And unfortunately for Ruby, she does not get the victory. Billie Kay picks up the victory over Ruby Riott. Main event time. Champion versus champion. Women's champ versus women's champ. Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion, taking on SmackDown's Women's Champ Bayley. And this is just leading more and more into the rivalry with Asuka and Sasha for Extreme Rules. And then, of course, Bayley in her matchup against Nikki Cross at Extreme Rules. As Nikki was seen, trying to get stay at the announcer's table this time and got ejected, came back, cost Bayley and Sasha, the distraction. Asuka picks up the victory in a damn good match to end the night for the Raw brand. And now we know that next week's Raw will have a women's tag team title match before we head to Extreme Rules Horror Show. It will be Banks and Bayley taking on the Kabuki Warriors for the women's tag team titles. And that was Raw for this past week. It was a really good Raw this week. I'll give it that. I mean, it wasn't the go home show that we're going to get next week, but still, it was a damn good show. Normally we would head on over to talking about NXT or AEW. But you know what? Before we go there, how about we take a surprise trip to New Japan? Yes, I'm going to talk some New Japan with you guys because this is going to be the next 2 weekends are going to be jam packed with wrestling action because we had over the week we had the day 8 of the New Japan Cup happening. We had semifinal matches with Okada and Tanahashi going one-on-one. And we also had Evil taking on his tag team partner of Sonata. And the winner of those 2 matches are going to go on to Saturday in the New Japan Cup final, which is jam-packed with a lot of action to determine who is going to be the New Japan Cup winner to go on to Sunday to get a championship opportunity. But before we get to that, let's talk about what happened on day 8 of the New Japan Cup. Okada taking on Tanahashi one-on-one. It was a high explosive matchup, knockdown, drag 'em out match. Okada picking up the victory, moving on to the final 2. Evil and Sonata in the second semifinal match. That one was damn good. It was real good. These 2 big boys right here can go. Evil picks up the victory over his partner, Sonata, and it will be this Saturday in the finals of the New Japan Cup for a guaranteed championship opportunity the next night. It will be Okada taking on Evil. But that's not all for this Saturday. We also have Great Bash Heel taking on Yoda Tatsu and Yumamura in tag team action. Tenkoji in tag team action taking on Haruku Goto and Gabriel Kidd in tag team action. Master Wato versus Doyuki. Sorry, cannot say it. In Master Wato's return match. Los Ingobernables de Japan, Sonata and Bushi taking on Bullet Club of Tajiri Ishimura and Tanahashi in tag team action. And Hiroku Tanahashi, Kato Ibushi, Nagata, and Ryusuke Tanji will take on Suzuki Gun in 6-man tag. 8-man tag. I want to say that. 8-man tag. I know I'm going to be saying so many bad names and butchering them. Chaos will be going at it in 6-man tag again with Los Ingobernables de Japan. And then, of course, the finals of the New Japan Cup. That is a stacked card on Saturday. You can go and check that out on NewJapanWorld.com. And you can sign up there and you can go and watch what is going on in New Japan. They have some damn good matches. But on top of that, for this weekend, this Sunday, will be Dominion in Osaka Joe Hall. And these 2 events, the New Japan Cup this weekend and Dominion the next night, will have fans in the stands. They will be at reduced capacity, but there will be fans in the stands for these events starting this weekend. At Dominion, IWGP Tag Team titles will be on the line. Golden Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and Kota Ibushi, the champions, will take on Dangerous Techers of Taichi and Zack Sabre Jr. The Never Openweight Championship is on the line. Shingo Tajiri will take on Sho. And then, of course, the main event, the show-stopping number of Dominion for this whole New Japan Cup. IWGP Heavyweight and the Intercontinental Championship will be on the line as Tetsuya Naito will take on the winner of the final match, the winner of the New Japan Cup. That is a stacked card for 2 days, 2 back-to-back nights in Japan. That is something to go and watch. So yeah, go on to newjapanworld.com, sign up. They have some great action right there. And it's literally, this is where you get your Wrestle Kingdom. This is where you get the G1 tournament. This is big. This is like a big event. And yeah, it's just so crazy. So make sure you go out and check that out. In order to, I believe, to pay for it's like $10, basically the same as a WWE network, though it will be converted to yen. So that is the New Japan World news right there of what is going on over there in New Japan. Let's head on over to the Black and Gold brand and talk about a great American Bash Night 2. Man, was this thing stacked. Top to bottom. Street fight. Candice LeRae and Mia Yim to kick off the night 2 of the Great American Bash. And they did not disappoint. Candice LeRae and Mia Yim almost destroying the Performance Center. It was that good. Candice LeRae picks up the victory over Mia Yim to kick off night 2. Boris and Reed taking on Tony Nese, and Reed picking up the victory in a good match. Johnny Wrestling, all heart and no soul, taking on Tacoma, Washington native trained Isaiah Swerve Scott in a damn good match. Johnny Gargano picks up the victory in a hard-fought match. Phantasma, the trio tag team right there of Escobar, Wild, and Mendoza taking on Maverick, Tyler Breeze, and Fandango Breezango right there. And it was a good match. I'll get it. The 6-man tag right there announced was pretty good. It was pretty damn good. Phantasma picks up the victory over Breezango and Maverick. And then the reappearance of Mercedes Martinez taking on Santana Garrett. Mercedes picks up the victory in a very well dominated match for her. And then, of course, the main event, the show-stopping number 4, double championship supremacy for the NXT Championship of the World and the North America Championship on the line in the main event, title for title, Keith Lee taking on Adam Cole, and that match was freaking crazy. It was insane. It was everything that you hoped it would be to build up for this double champion winner-take-all match. Keith Lee picking up the victory over Adam Cole, baby, and ending the 400-day reign, the year-long reign of Adam Cole as NXT World Champ. That was a damn good, crazy, Great American Bash. It was awesome. One of the best for the past 2 weeks. Literally can't beat the last 2 weeks with a stick. Actually, last 3 weeks with a stick. The triple threat to determine who was going to be going up against Adam Cole on night 2 of the Great American Bash. Last week's first night of the Great American Bash, to find out who's going to be challenging Iro Shirai for the women's title next week. Tegan Nox will take on next week for the women's title Iro Shirai. Literally just Iro Shirai will take on Tegan Nox next week for the women's title, and Damian Priest will take on Cameron Grimes again next week on NXT TV. So that's going to be fun to see. Now let's head on over to the competition on Wednesday nights, that AEW, that Dynamite, because it was Fyter Fest night 2. We already know that next week is going to be Brian Cage Moxley for the AEW world title. But now it seems it's going to be champion versus champion, because Taz, the human suplex machine, has brought back from his vault the FTW title and has now been given it to Cage, his protege right now, I would say, the man he is managing. And the FTW title, that was a very nice title back in the day, back in the ECW days. And it was awesome. It was an awesome title. It's awesome that it's great that they brought it back, and it's going to be fun hopefully this leads to Cage doing something with that title, or if it was just to prop up. But it's nice to see that title again. It's nice to see it. We know that. Oh, sorry. We're going to get to that in a little bit. So, Fyter Fest night 2, Omega and Hangman Page taking on Private Party for the AEW tag team titles. 2 weeks in a row, they had to defend the tag team titles. And 2 weeks in a row, Omega and Page pull it out. They retain the tag team titles. Lance Archer taking on Joey Janela, and Lance Archer picking up a hard-fought victory over Joey. Six-man tag, Lucha Brothers, 8-man tag. Sorry, I read that wrong. My own notes. 8-man tag, Lucha Brothers, Butcher and the Blade taking on the Bucks and FTR. This was a high-paced, damn good match between these 8 guys. Literally just craziness. Lucha Brothers, Butcher and the Blade pick up the victory over the Bucks and FTR. Nyla Rose take, 2-on-1 handicap match. No sweat for her. Picks up the victory over Kenzai Pagey and Keila Lynn King. Literally cannot say her own name. But calls out, says she's going to have a manager soon. Wants that title back, that women's title back again. So Nyla Rose is going to be on a warpath now. Now that she's no longer the champ. 6-man tag, Dark Order taking on SCU. And truth be told, to see Cole Cabana so sore that literally around his midsection, knowing that he was hurt, knowing that he was bruised up like a potato, bruised up like bad roadkill, still managed to get the victory for the Dark Order. It was a good match. It was a damn good match. Then, of course, main event for Fyter Fest night 2, Chris Jericho taking on Orange Cassidy. And, of course, the Le Champion, the former Le Champion, man of the Inner Circle, the leader of the Inner Circle, picking up the victory over Orange Cassidy. That was Fyter Fest night 2. we know that next week on the show for Fight of the Fallen, next week will be Mox taking on Cage, champion versus champion, if you would call that, for the AEW World Title. Cody will take on Sonny Kiss for the AEW TNT title. FTR will take on Lucha Brothers tag team match. And then next week, we have a 6-man tag. The Elite, Omega, and the Bucks taking on Jurassic Express. 6-man tag. That is your Fyter Fest card for next week. Should be a very interesting Dynamite next week for sure. Let's get back to the ring for the moment. Cha-ching on AEW. Cha-ching. All right. So how about we talk, we know that the next 2 weekends are going to be jam-packed. How about we talk about next weekend's events next weekend's events with Slammiversary coming up. We know that it will be a 4-way for the vacant Impact World title. Ace Austin, Eddie Edwards, Trey, and a mystery opponent will be going for the Impact World title. Knockouts titles on the line. Jordina Grace will take on newly acquired TNA or Impact Women's Knockout. The knockout from NXT, Dinona Perezzo, the newly acquired talent for the Knockouts division. X Division titles on the line. Willie Mack will take on Chris Bay. And then a gauntlet match for the #1 contendership for the Impact Knockouts title. Aisha Edwards, Havoc, Kiera Hogan, Kimber Lee, Kylie Ray, Nevea, Rosemary, Susie, Tasha Steeles, Taya Valkyrie, and Madison Rayne in a gauntlet match to determine the #1 contender for the Knockouts title. The North will defend their tag team titles against the unlikely duo of the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. That's a name you haven't heard in a long ass time. For everyone watching and listening out there, and Sami Callihan for the tag team titles. And then, of course, a one-on-one match for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Moose will take on the hardcore icon, Tommy Dreamer, in a one-on-one match for the TNA World title. That's the name and stuff you have not. Literally just crazy. Yo, Hector. Let's see. And Hector. Me versus you. I have no idea. I have no idea, man, between me and you, who would win. And then, of course, we got Extreme Rules. I can't even call it that now. They changed the name again while we were on the air. Because at the horror show at Extreme Rules on Sunday, July 19th, this is what we know so far. It will be Drew McIntyre taking on. There we go. We'll be taking on Dolph Ziggler. WWE titles on the line. We don't know that yet the stipulation for the title match. Dolph Ziggler hasn't announced it yet, hasn't told us what it's going to be, so that is a surprise. Asuka will defend the Raw Women's title against Sasha Banks. Bayley will defend the SmackDown Women's title against Nikki Cross. Apollo Crews will defend the new U.S. title against MVP. And then, of course, what will probably be the two cinema style matchups. Probably one of them is going to be guaranteed. The other one, maybe. But the first one is going to be the Wyatt Swamp Fight. Braun Strowman will take on Bray Wyatt. Non-universal title match. This was not for the universal title. It's just one-on-one at the Wyatt Swamp. And in an eye for an eye match, the crazy match that we're going to get between Rey Mysterio and Seth Rollins. That is your horror show at Extreme Rules card right there. And sorry about that, drop something. That is a lot of, that's a lot of action that has been going on, or that's happening, that's going to happen in the next couple of weeks right there on pay-per-view for everyone to go check it out. But that is it. Surprisingly enough, today, that is going to be it for us. Surprisingly, that's going to be it for us. But before we peace out for this week, literally, before we peace out, today has a very special day for everyone. Today is July 9th. The episode today on July 9th is very special because 20 years ago, for all of you wrestling history buffs out there, the ones who remember the good old days of wrestling back in the 2000s, would remember a very fun pay-per-view called WCW Bash at the Beach. And 20 years ago today, we had the craziest Bash at the Beach, the final Bash at the Beach. We had two crazy world title matches. One in the middle of the show, seemingly in the middle of the show, with Hogan taking on Jeff Jarrett for the WCW world title. And we get the laydown of Jeff Jarrett. Hogan looking like, what the hell is going on? Seemingly just puts his foot over Jeff Jarrett and beats Jeff Jarrett for the WCW world title. Hogan gets on the mic and cuts a shoot promo on Vince Russo, telling him this is why this company is such in bad shape, because of bullshit like this. Leaves. Russo comes out a little bit, short time later, cuts a shoot promo on Hogan, telling him he will never be seen in WCW again and the title that he walked out with might as well be known as the Hulk Hogan, title, because that was crazy. And then he tells everyone that, main event's going to be Booker T taking on Jeff Jarrett for the world title. And we get that awesome match with Booker T picking up the victory over Jeff Jarrett and his first world title victory. Man, 20 years ago seems so far away. I mean, think about it. 20 years ago, WCW was still in business. I mean, it was winding down, because by the time we get to 2000, or by the time we got to March of 2001 right there, in 2001, WCW's out of business. But man, just seems, so long ago that today Booker T won his first world title, his world heavyweight title, 20 years ago today. Man, that still a long time ago for everyone. Let's see. I think there was something else. Oh yeah, today is also, actually past, 2 days ago, we also had to celebrate 24-year birthday of the NWO. How funny is that 24 years ago, we were celebrating 24 years of celebrating the NWO as a whole. How crazy is that? I took 20. What a lot of great memories of the NWO is from its start at Bash at the Beach. Again, another, this month, Bash at the Beach was always a great pay-per-view, concept, a pay-per-view at the beach. Just so crazy. And I think that is going to be it for me this week here on the Wrestling Week in Review show. That is going to be it for me. Now I got to get through my normal spiel of everything. Make sure you follow us on Facebook. You follow us on Twitter. You follow us here on YouTube. Like, subscribe, share us with everybody you know. We are starting to get back into the world of fantasy football. Fantasy football is starting to get rolling again. If you saw from our 100th episode, we're getting into that motion again of fantasy football cranking back up, and football season is right around the corner. Granted, we're not going to have 4 preseason games this time around. We're going to have 2 this year. And then season. But of course, for your fantasy football and your football information, go over to and follow on Twitter at the Flex Network 1 for your fantasy football and your football info. And you should be following us here on the wrestling side of the world at FlexNet_PW Elite. Man, that's a lot of stuff to get through. But be serious, folks. But that is going to be it for us. We're also, you can also follow us on our podcast, on Spotify, on Apple. If we are not on a platform that you listen to as your podcast home, let us know. We will get to there. We will be there so you can continue to take us on the road with you, so you can listen to us here at the Flex Network on the road. You can take us with you. So be sure to let us know what podcast area you would like us to get to if they don't carry us. But yeah, so make sure you like and subscribe and follow and share us with your friends, your family, anyone that you know and love. But that is going to be it for me. That is going to be it for this week in the world of wrestling. We will be back next week. And until then, this has been the SnowMan. And this has been the Flex Network. We will see you later. Peace out, everybody.
If I can be serious for a minute.
Welcome to Raw is Jericho!
The following announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Listen up, you blind slapnut.
This is the Flex Network. This is the Flex Network. Flex on them. Flex on everybody.
The real reason I came here tonight is because we are live!
We flex hard. NXT.
A little bit of the bubbly.
Preceding announcement has been paid for by the New World Order.
Well, you're welcome, Jurassic Slap Ass.